Hello, and welcome to Hyperefficient Startup. Today we're going to talk about something really important and something that is perhaps not intuitive for some people, which is perfectly fine and all the more reason to talk about it. And the topic of today's episode is secret management. And so, as you know, there are many ways to do commercial, industrial grade secret management. HashiCorp Vault, to name one. I don't want to go into many details because we actually aren't doing any of this stuff over at ZeroHR. What we do instead is we're using something beautiful, amazing. It's called Passveil, and it's made by Ante Corp. It is the CTO of that company is Raichu, which is like a very principled developer. I have huge respect for him. So it's hosted on SourceHub or on Dark's Hub or something like this. And obviously, we are not hipster enough for this. We are focusing on using very conventional tools when it makes sense. This is the reason why we use Ubuntu LTS on our servers, and this is the reason why we are using GitHub as well. We are not happy about it. We tried SourceHub, but we decided that we're going to stick to GitHub for a number of reasons, not the least of which is marketing purposes. With that being said, what it meant for us is that we need to put Passveil on GitHub, which we did, and actually some people are using who are using Passveil are actually using it using our GitHub fork. This fork already has went beyond what was implemented originally in Ante. I tried to contact Raichu, try to have a chat with them about what's going on in our fork, but there isn't enough traction. Not the least of which is thanks to Ilona. We have this update to new GHC, so now everything builds for toolchain from 2024. What we have done as well, this is my achievement, is I have implemented both Z shell and bash completions. For Passveil, it was a huge hindrance in the usability that only this shell that let me put it like this: no one I know personally uses. Is supported in the completions, and now we have full completions. And obviously, what it also meant is that we have added all of this. So I have added. I'm okay with taking credit for things I did. I have added all of this installed directives into this Passveil with completions flake output, and I will just show really briefly how it's used. So here, let's have a look at him, which is my repo for Home Manager, and the way we use it, the way I use it, and the way it should be used, the way I use it and we use it on all our servers, is that we have a Home Manager that is installing software in the user's into the user's environment, and basically if you have a look over here to Flakenix, we're using Home Manager with flakes, which is correct. Not using flakes is wrong. I will not go into this holy war, but it shouldn't even be a holy war. Like, flakes are great. So as you can see, it's trivial to add Passveil as input, as it is trivial to add anything else as an input. So we have this Passveil as an input. Then we add Passveil to our overlay, and it's we're just supporting Linux, honestly. So it's like there is a Linux version of Passveil clearly, and this is how we add it to overlay. Then we set modules to home NICs, and then basically the framework which evaluates these NICs expressions will make sure that all of these packages are available to the packages will be available to home.nix expression, and in home.nix expression you install the thing just as you would expect. You have your packages and etc., and then you basically, well, it's probably in CLI.nix, I'm sorry, and then you basically just install it like this. Just no magic, no nothing. There is a caveat that you also have to install darks for Passveil to work, because Passveil uses darks as the underlying repository revision control system to control the distributed nature of its contents, of the secrets that are stored in Passveil. And as opposed to Pass, for example, which is another very popular open source secret control manager, which is agnostic to the way you store the your repository with secrets, Passveil actually is opinionated. Its opinion is that darks should be used as a backend for for secret management, which means that now in this repository, which is distributed by design, you can encode a lot of stuff that we actually need in like serious industry in order to to qualify our secret manager as a useful tool. What I mean with that is that so let's have a look at Passveil. Let me go to DOM dev, because I think that here we have latest Passveil installed. So let's have a look at Passveil. I don't know, Passveil help. Like basically, sorry for that, Passveil help. Yeah, Mosh doesn't have easy scroll, and I'm too lazy to write pipeless. So Passveil is a distributed password manager. You can insert, and it is a bit like some of the things in the help and in the language really should be cleaned up. But this is basically this should say secret management, and it has what you would expect, from your normal password manager or secret manager to have. However, there also, is, this info thing, which shows key information, and I'll just show you. I'll just show you how it looks. Let's say info TMP. So this is one of the examples of just like a dummy secret that we have. But we can also use our my autocompletion. I'm learning to take credits for things I do. Okay, and let's have a look at something that's clearly shared. Like, for example, let's have a look at this wildcard captcha secret. So as you see here, and I'll do two, I don't know, probably it's okay, but I'll do it like this. Sorry for garbage, visual garbage, but such is life. So you see the whole trail of what happened, how the secret ended up in the thing, in the manager, and you can see everyone who have access to it. So this should kind of give you, this gives you an audit trail first of all, and this should really give you, an understanding of what this tool actually does. Now, because all of these people can independently have access to the repository where the secrets are stored, you don't need to add any infrastructure to make sure that the keys, the secrets are propagated. I did it as well. Secrets are propagated, because essentially there's this command. Let's have a look at help once again. There's this command called sync, which basically just synchronizes the storage from the central darks repository to your local darks repository. It's probably, I run it regularly, so probably the sync will be empty, but you can imagine that the following would have happened if the diff, like if the head at remote would be different from the head, locally. What you would have seen is you would have seen that sync will drop you into GPG, key prompt, and what that would do for us is that it would not encrypt anything, but rather it would verify signatures. This is what I just said is nonsense, and I just wasted 11 minutes of recording. I'll just do it in one take. It will I don't know what it will do, and I don't know why do we need to enter our PIN from our private key when we do Passveil sync. I will have to think about it and write about it in comment section if I'm not going to be lazy. But essentially what it will do is it will ask you to provide your GPG PIN, you will enter it, it will do some cryptography, and then it will also verify signatures of every action that was done in this event log of permission changes, of permission revocations, blah blah blah, etc., and so on and so on, for all the keys, or for all the secrets, that are synchronized after you ran Passveil sync. And of course you can do the basic thing, which is you can decrypt a secret. So here you will be prompted. With your PIN, and I will change my camera to this, and I will mute my microphone so that you don't know how many symbols I have in my password. All right, so after I entered my PIN, my password was decrypted to this string, and this is our temporary or dummy password. We can do pass edit tmp. Sorry, Passveil. Edit tmp, and we can write something like I don't know, doesn't matter. We can delete something. We can even write some information about what sort of secret it is. This is a dummy password, and then we can save. And here, when we saved, what happened is that we actually used our private key to sign the change. Okay, so this means that when we run Passveil info tmp, we will see that right now it was updated. Okay, and here's the log. The log of access. We can do it again, and then we can run info tmp once again, and it kind of seems to only remember the last edit, which is a bit cringe in my opinion. But actually, that's perhaps because we actually didn't put it into the repository. So let's try putting it into repository, then do edit once again. I don't know, just to be sure. Info TMP sync. Yeah, I think it only captures the last edit, but perhaps if it was edited by multiple people, it would have captured this. Honestly, we're not using logs too much in our practice, and honestly, this is something that I would like to work on a little bit. So maybe to display updated ones, but to have underlying data, so you can write like Passveil info TMP minus updates, and then I don't know. Yeah, probably minus updates is correct, or whatever, or something like this. Just classic. To basically show all the updates. But anyway, there is a certain amount of auditing possible, and obviously it's it's distributed out of the box, which is beautiful because you can do stuff like this. Oh yeah, and actually, I will talk a little bit about the way we approach onboarding in Doma, just to put this out of the way. So what we do is we have this personas repository, and we have a bunch of people who work or worked with us here, and essentially what do you have to do to onboard. Let's have a look at my stuff because it's a bit diverse here. So what do you have to do as a new employee or contractor? What do you do is you clone repository, you put your GPG2 key here, you put your public key here, preferably with .pub, so that you can SSH copy ID -f, but that's a topic for another day. And then you create a pull request, and essentially what happens is that an administrator in 0HR would merge this into main. Then and only then, if all of the onboarding, all of the permissions to onboard someone are granted. So all of the permissions to the onboarded account, which is defined by GPG public key plus SSH public key. And as a side note, the fact that we live in the world where I can't just use my SSH key for encryption, and I'm only using it for signatures is crazy. And actually, it doesn't have to be like this. There were proceedings, I would say, in 2019 or 18 that fixes this, where you can use your SSH key for everything. But they're not mainstream, and I can't find manual pages for them. But any fucks. So essentially, this pair defines your account. Obviously, you have to have and maintain, private keys corresponding to these public keys. Then when the pull request is merged, it basically means that you can go here, and you can run GPG import all. It will import everything in the repository. It will trust everything. The reason why we need to import everything is that when you don't have a trusted public key for some persona, it means that there is no way for GPG to confidently verify their signature, right? If you don't have like big enough trust in a key, in a public key that it represents someone, GPG will just refuse to verify their signature. And basically the way we provide trust is by curation of this personas repo. Is like a private repo, there has to be manual intervention and manual due diligence or whatever inspection over another channel or multitude of channels for an administrator in zero HR to make sure that someone is actually who they represent, who they pretend to be, which is to say that if we have a contractor, we have a way to establish that that they are indeed trying to gain access to our stuff, and then the administrator would say yes, that is the person by merging the pull request. So now when pull request is merged, basically, what do you gain from using Passveil aside from this person-to-person secret sharing is something that I wanted to show off when I was talking about this. And this is also really incorrect. Like, this really shouldn't reside in my folder. And actually, I'm going to correct this straight away. I will just make a new persona, and the persona will be deployment at I don't know, app 0hr io, and I will git mv. I'll also mkdir.deployment ed25519, and then what I'll do is I'll git mv memory side host twins to deployment, and then I'll git mv. So what I'm demonstrating here is that no, crawl space is wrong. Git log. So what I'm demonstrating here is that you can create a persona. You can create a persona that is not a person, but that is your trace of which keys are used on a certain deployment. And of course, my mistake was to put them into my directory. They never should have really went there. But essentially, this is the power of Passveil. One of the powers of Passveil. All right. I'm pushing straight to main because there's no admin intervention needed. We just moved around some keys. All right, so this is a very important aspect, this deployment personas, because sometimes you're working with secrets that are more important than something like your mailing API secret. Sometimes you're working with secrets that allow people to spend your money, for example, and in that, I mean, spend like do like big things with your money. Charge people less, for example, for your services, or charge people more for your services, or blah blah blah. And obviously, even though in threat model where the attacker has complete access to the server, and they just chill there for an indefinite amount of time, obviously it doesn't matter, because eventually you'll decrypt the key and they will steal it. If they can inspect the memory of your server as it runs, upload the memory dump to their C2 server, and then find your API keys or whatever, you're going to be fucked. However, this creates a significantly more resilient system than putting your secrets on hard drive in decrypted fashion, which is something that we do, for example, with our SendGrid API secrets where we generate config at deployment time. We enter our pin, and then when the pin is entered, now all the restarts, subsequent restarts, are automatic because the config is there to be used by, for example, 0HR app code. But sometimes, so this is like an important trade-off, right? Do you want to be able to deploy to CD your thing without manual intervention, or do you want to ask an operator to enter a pin when a deployment happens, or to activate deployment manually by entering the pin? And we're moving forward to a more advanced continuous delivery, and I will be talking about it as well. And there is going to be the point when we will probably reevaluate the necessity of deployment personas, because actually there is this stack which I have posted about on Mastodon. Let me find it. Here it is. So there's the subs, and it's a very established thing. A lot of people are using it, and I hope that what it does is that it encrypts secrets at rest, but then when an action has to be taken, it decrypts the secrets without a prompt, injects the secrets somewhere, and then encrypts them again. So this way, security model of SOAPs, if it's implemented the way I assume it is essentially very similar to what we have with our manually enter pin to launch a service. It kind of provides this additional level of granularity when it comes to, again, if it is implemented the way I assume it is, it provides that additional level of granularity with this, which is kind of perfect balance for the threat model that I'm talking about. And a lot of Nix people are using this because it works around the issue of, hey, everything that is in Nix store is decrypted. So like you can have your you can have your like less important API keys basically there, more or less. It's weird. It's wrong, yeah, but maybe you can. But as far as like money is concerned, you really can't put things into your Nix store. And actually, you shouldn't put secrets in your Nix store in general, because it can really end poorly. God forbid you're using your server to provide derivation outputs to another server. If your server is in a build machine and it allows other servers to use the server as a build machine, then another server can actually maybe download a bunch of derivations and get your secrets inadvertently. So so this is on the roadmap. This is on the roadmap, but the way it's handled now is we mostly have configuration files with secrets only on servers created by entering a pin once. Okay, and this is the way that we should that we approach things by default. But for very important secrets, we trade off the ease of deployment for a bit more security, which is that our keys are encrypted at rest, because every deployment action comes with a pin entry. Okay, now this is the preliminary, and I think that this will explain enough about how we use Passveil at Zero HR. Of course, you can you can download Passveil from our GitHub. It's amazing. It's like you can like it builds like automatically with Nix. This is outdated. Fucking ignore it. Just build it, use it. Blah blah blah. I can help you. Just drop me a line. I'll help you out under this video, please, because I will not be. You can write an email as well if you have my email. I can help you out with introducing Passveil into your startup or your bigger company, because honestly, it's like versatile enough to to make you happy. I just want to say one thing, which is that GPG is fucking weird, and like it sometimes breaks, and like I'm using GPG for so many years, and for me it's like every time a GPG freaks out, I'm like I don't know, I remember a trick, I use a trick, and then I'm happy. Like for example, this is just fucking beautiful. Like what the fuck? Like we live in 2024. Why do I need to have this in my bash RC? But it is what it is, yeah. But the problem is that when you integrate GPG as the underlying tool for your system, it means that every time your GPG freaks out, you have to actually have some contingency code in your password manager. And I have a feeling that some things in Passveil are not as atomic as I would like them to be in presence of failure that GPG introduces into systems. If I remember correctly, if I fail to provide my GPG passphrase as I create a secret, or I allow my secret to be used by some users, then, as far I remember correctly, the repository will become dirty because the act of allowing or the act of inserting isn't actually atomic with respect to GPG operations that are done in Passveil. And this is another thing that I have on the roadmap, but I mean I don't have the time for this, to make sure that everything is atomic, that the repository will never enter an incorrect state, but it does sometimes. This is why you can see these two scripts. The one that is called Poetically is something that I wrote many like some years ago and I use, but the one that is called a little bit less poetically is the one that I distribute with my Passveil fork, with our Passveil fork, I should say. And basically, it just does this, right? It tells you that it's a destructive operation, that you can lose data by doing this. Then what it does is it finds the latest darks commit, and it turns, it reverses it and inserts an information that we have unforked up our repo, and it uses darks obliterate to reset it to remove everything that's not in remote. So I'll be honest with you, I don't remember how exactly this works, because again, this is something comes from Haskell. We really like to have weird names for weird things. So obliterate, you have to read the manual page for darks to understand what obliterate is. But basically there is this Passveil unsafe rollback script that I sometimes have to use, rarely, but sometimes have to use when the repository enters a broken state. And it normally means that after you run this script, you have to actually scroll up if you can it's a nudge against Mosh, but not really. Scroll up, remember what you were doing, and just make sure that your your secrets repository did not lose any data that you need to be there, right? Because otherwise it can be a bit troublesome to then trying to understand what the fuck is going on. Maybe you think you shared some secret you didn't, and then you say to your colleague, okay, the secret is in the secret storage, and then they're like, no, it's not, and then you're like, yeah, it's there, but then you look at it, and then you don't even remember the password, so you have to reset and blah blah blah. We don't want this, right? While you still have the context in your head, just scroll up, figure out what you are doing, and make sure that it is complete. So this is the caveat that I want to discuss. I don't think there are any other usability caveats. And obviously default verb could have been show, like in pass, for example, pass, you can write pass TMP. You don't need to write pass show TMP even though you want to, right? It's like kind of space in physics means multiplication, space in Haskell means function application, space in stop fucking password managers means show me the fucking password, It's like not that not that big of a deal, but it's still kind of interesting how this is like kind of like a little bit of a tiny splinter in UX. But other than that, I think that UX is pretty good. Even documentation, like the tutorial, like whatever help is pretty good. Their website explains, actually, if you go to Ante website, I hope it's still up. Okay, so you can what? Yeah, so you can have a look at what they what they have to say about their tool. Yeah, there's like Passveil in 5 minutes. Read it; it's amazing. Blah blah blah. So with that being said, I wanted to answer some questions that one of our employees had about using Passveil. Let's see. This one. So okay, I'll actually have to turn off the screen grab and go through the so it's in a very random any very random place. It's in DOM, and it's a secret stream. Ooh, I prefer people talking about shit in public streams. So any fucks. So here the person says, I tried to deploy changes about email sending, so I need sender key. I have the key locally in Veil, so I want to share it with our server. So the answer to this is, in our threat model, SendGrid API key is not a secret that we are scared to put on the hard drive. It is put on the hard drive with our app, and our stuff is generally secure enough to not have remote code executions. We are trying to make sure that we don't have remote code executions in our shit. So, but even then, even if we do, for a non-sophisticated attacker, sure, they will be able to get the image of our file system, which means that they will get our SendGrid keys, which means that they will send some horrible things with the SendGrid. We will say, guys, we got hacked. Here is the proof. Please fuck off. So, but another thing that I want to say about this is that after an incident like this happens, if we don't detect it, like if they will start sending shit, then SendGrid will come to us and say, guys, what the fuck? We will rotate API keys. We will, go through all the accounts, because gladly everything again is in the password manager. So we know what services we use. We have complete visibility on it, over it. And we will make sure that these credentials are revoked, blah, blah, blah. And we will control the damage, right? It is not the same thing as someone buying our shit for 1 penny or for 1 cent. Yeah. There is no immediate financial trouble with hosting this sort of API keys, or like your GPT API key or blah, 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 where you have like $10 rolling credit or whatever. And like, okay, we will lose, maybe, okay, we will lose $1,000, whatever. Okay. So this is the answer, really. Before even reading the questions, the answer: you have access to the secret. Great. That's the point. Just fucking put it in the config file. Yeah. Now, in terms of like Stripe keys, indeed we have them encrypted at rest in our secret manager, and to decrypt them you have to enter the PIN, and to enter the PIN you have to indeed use the key to our deployment server GPG key. And the question is, okay, so I will ignore the first question for the time being. I don't understand the second question as well. I will go to third. Well, I mean, I understand. It's just like, what the fuck. I'll go to third question first, okay, and then we'll go to the first and second question. So unclear how to search for GPG public key on the server, even with SSH access. I don't know what to type on place. Well, it means on site. Well, I mean, I'll start with the following trick. I know it's 2024. I know Google search sucks, but how to find a GPG key on a server. I mean, I know this request doesn't make much sense, but this is basically what the message distills to. And yeah, I don't know. We have some AI overview, which, by the way, fuck Google. Like, I probably shouldn't have even made this Google query, because this literally destroys Earth. Like, I didn't ask for this. Like, I didn't ask for this. I asked for this. Checking for existing GPG keys, GitHub docs. Amazing. GitHub, honestly, it's concerning that it exists, but it's also nice. I mean, okay, sure. Let's invoke this command. So let's just for complete honesty, let's invoke this command here. Well, that didn't work. I see. So the reason why it doesn't work is that we actually should delete this GPG, because GPG is here. Huh? Okay. Webney. Okay, let's not bullshit. Okay, we are working on. Oh, this is the wrong server. Oops. SSH 0HR. Yeah, it's not where the website is hosted. The website is hosted here. And let's Okay, so straight away we looked something up online. So we went to the server where 0HR is hosted. We looked something up online about how to see our secret keys, and we see straight away that there is this deployment memory side deployment persona. We can do list keys 5 less. Here it is, the very first one. Here's its public component. Let's have a look again. Same public component, string. Amazing. So this is how you find a key on the server, and also like let's say we don't want to fuck with Passveil. Let's go here and then read config. Okay, so here it is. So we require signatures to be present for the secrets we use, and who am I is the ID that we have seen in our GPG output. Okay, so this is the answer of how do we find who the fuck is the guy. Okay, let's have a look. Let's have a look at other stuff. Val insert allows me to create a new key, allows me to make an input, but then writes verification failed when I try to look at it. Is this a bug? Is my system broken? Or what? It's absolutely unclear. Is it possible to sync with our server secret or not? Well, okay, so I obviously cannot reproduce whatever the fuck is going on there. What it looks like to me is that actually, let me try to reproduce it. Let me write Passveil, insert old Passveil, by the way, TMP. Bro, what? Okay, because it's okay. Well, insert TMP. TMP2. Get env does not exist. No environment variable. Cool. Okay, let's insert a password. Boo. It's spooky season. And let's try to, instead of entering correct phrase, let's try to enter wrong phrase a couple of times. So this will show signing failed. It will still not show you the interesting. Okay, so let me just decrypt. Let me just decrypt the deployment thingamajig. Hold on, let me just say cancel. Passveil. Yeah, there was a beautiful story. Like I will show you this as an example of how Passveil goes bad. Like there was a cute little story where I went Passveil sync. Then as you see, the system hung for a while because there were a lot of commits that aren't synced to this computer. And then what it said, decrypt failed, no pin entry. And the reason for that is that GPG is a piece of shit. Don't quote me on that. I honestly, I know that people say, GPG is at the same time a piece of shit and also the most wonderful software for us to have because it really democratized cryptography. But anyway, GPG is also a piece of shit. And GPG agent sometimes does weird stuff. What I do is I just write this spell, which is basically killing all the GPG, including GPG agent, restarts GPG agent with pin entry program being pin entry curses. This is a very non-Nix way to do this, by the way, but I don't give a shit in this particular scenario. And then I say, okay, run it as daemon to, you know, run it like in the background. And then I run Passveil sync. I enter my password and bish bash bosh, everything works. Classic. So let me now decrypt the password for Linux for this deployment. Okay, this is a wrong password. It's like 0hr. No. Search Linux. Okay, I should search GPG. Okay, here we go. Okay, so now I can do Passveil show tmp2 and enter correct key. I'm now entering correct password for, you know, correct pin. Click enter and it shows verification failed. And the reason why it shows verification failed is that we have failed to enter our password before when we were inserting the thing into Passveil registry. And when we say Passveil list, when we say Passveil list, we also will not see the key that we have, that we tried to insert but failed to insert because we failed to provide our secret passphrase. So this is exactly what the person describes here, right? It says verification failed. And actually now when we run Passveil sync, it will refuse, Passveil sync, it will say repository dirty aborting, which is exactly the thing that I talked about like 10 minutes before. And you know, and the way out of it is to either learn darks real quick, or just use the magic unsafe rollback script. And again, like I know I told you that everything is installed with Nix in this particular situation, even though Nix is installed here. I don't know, this is a weird deployment. We probably should move it to a more standardized deployment, but as you noticed, I didn't even go to this server when I wanted to demonstrate you these things, because the server we kind of care about the most, and the server that is the most like correct and beautiful and all like organized and stuff is the app0hr.io one. This one is a bit of a mess, which is fine, honestly. So let's just write what is the polite word? Passveil unsafe rollback. And again, like you will not need to do any of this because Passveil unsafe rollback is distributed with the system. If you install it, you know, in a conventional way. So now we will do Passveil unsafe rollback. It will warn us that it's a destructive operation, and then che cazzo. Actually, Nix shell Nix packages parallel. I'm sorry for this. Yeah, parallel command not found. It is honestly like I'm kind of happy that the server is like a very ad hoc install, because I'm kind of showing what you would have if you have a kind of an ad hoc install at home on your personal computer, which may be the case for Arseni. 2 hours later. So boring. But it's great because, I'm kind of falling asleep. So it's nice to do some Nix installs. Nice. Well, I mean, it's not nice that the elections were counted the way they were, but it seems like there at least are gonna be some protests. I honestly I kind of gave up. I kind of gave up on Georgia, but we'll see. Okay, so basically, what happened is that this object was removed, and we can now say Passveil sync. Cringe. Veil sync. And boom, everything works, right? So, and just to demonstrate, so obviously we cannot, by doing this, we can only we can only lose our local changes, but we can't lose our local changes beyond what is already on the central server that distributes the passwords. So when we run veil list, we see our Stripe passwords encrypted here. So if I had to bet money, I wouldn't bet too much, but I think that this is what happened. There was an insert that didn't go through completely. Then when you try to look at the thing is there, but not really. So it tries and says verification failed because it isn't there really. I mean, it is there, but it's not signed with a valid signature. And then when we try to sync, everything breaks because our repository is dirty, which is all very nice. It's look, this is a very nice. The fact that we get repository dirty error is a very important aspect of why Passveil doesn't break globally, right? Because the last thing we would like to have as a property of our distributed password manager or secret manager is that someone can push this broken secret to the chain, to distributed revision control system, and then someone else downloads your state, and then it breaks for them as well, right? This is the last thing we would want. I want to say one important thing, right, about denial of service is that in presence of malicious actor, the security of your password manager in terms of providing the password manager capability to your company hinges on the security of your darks repository, which is at heart of your storage. Obviously, a person who understands how Passveil works would be able to mitigate the outage by rolling back the head of their local darks repository to a known working copy. Sorry, to a copy that is known to have worked before. Like for example, at the beginning of the day, your engineer comes to work, they sync the password manager, bam, there is a problem. And if they know what they're doing, they can roll back, blah, blah, blah. But it's obviously not the case, as we have seen, and people shouldn't know how your password manager works down below. So essentially what you want to do actually is you want to have a hook, and we don't have it because we are a very small company and we are not concerned about someone acting maliciously and crafting a malicious commit that they would push to the server that would cause a global outage for everyone who syncs, right? But if you're concerned, just have an integrity check in your hook on the server side, basically to refuse any commits that break the integrity of your password, of your secret management. And all of this stuff is something that obviously we can help with. Obviously, the offer before, when I said, come in, talk to me about Passveil, blah, 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 it's obviously not concerning advanced usage or custom code that we would need to write for this use case, for example. But if you're interested, if your organization is interested in something like this, obviously you can also come to us and we will provide you a quote to integrate this kind of advanced security measures. We will make the inserts atomic so that you don't get into a situation that that we were dealing in the second half of this video. But yeah, that's about it. Thank you so much for watching and see you next time.